We're going to be looking at the area of circles here. So let's find the area of each circle. And then I even wrote on the instructions, use pi for pi. When you're typing in your calculator, you might not see the symbol pi. But if you type in pi, the pi feature will pop up. So then you guys can click on it. That's going to be on your calculator. So as a reminder, I'm saying use pi for pi because you want it to pop out. We're going to use the number pi. Now, I'm not going to estimate it as 3.14, right? 3.14 is just an estimation. No, as a matter of fact, pi is a very long number. In fact, I can round it up as 3.1415926654, right? I can go long. So like I said, I'm not going to abbreviate this as 3.14. You have been told before, pi is 3.14. That's just an estimation. Pi is a never-ending number. Now, when it comes to circles, I need the radius. So let me take a look at a circle. Let's assume that's a circle. From the center of the circle to the edge of the circle, that distance we're going to call radius. I'm going to use R for radius. The area of the circle is going to be radius times pi. Now, some people like to call this radius square pi. Yeah, radius squared means radius times radius. So it's going to go radius times pi. For number 43, my radius is 6.6. So I'm just going to go 6.6 times 6.6 times pi. And again, I'm not doing 3.14. I'm using the symbol pi. When you're typing in your work, type in pi, then you will see the symbol pi pops up. Okay, so according to my calculator here, I get 136.847776. Okay, it says rounded to the nearest tenth. My instructions here says nearest tenth, so 1 decimal place. So my answer will be 136.8. All right, let's take a look at number 44. I'm going to go 7.3 times 7.3 times pi. So according to my calculator, that gives me 167.4. I already rounded this to 1 decimal place. Now, question number 45. 8 is not the radius, right? Notice how it's crossing the whole circle. That's what we call diameter. I only need the radius. The radius is from the center to the edge, not the whole circle. It doesn't need to go from one side of the circle to the other side. So I'm going to say my radius in this case, it's 4, right? The diameter is 8. The radius is half of it. So I'm going to say it's 4, right? The half of 8. So now for the area of this circle, I'm going to go 4 times pi. So according to my calculator, I get 50.3. I rounded to 1 decimal place. All right, so let's take a look now at question number 46. Look, that's another diameter. The diameter is 6. The radius is only half of it. So I'm going to say my radius in this case is 3, right? The half of 6. So for my area, let me go 3 times pi. So according to my calculator, this is 28.3. Now, sometimes your work is going to say use the pi symbol. So question number 45, for example, it would have been 16 pi. Notice how 4 times 4 gave me 16. I'm leaving it as pi because if it says leave your pi symbol as a pi, then leave pi as a pi, 16 pi. Question number 46, I would have written this as 9 pi. I just multiply the numbers, leave pi as a pi. Now, if it says, use a decimal and then I go 9 times pi. That's really what I did. 9 times pi, then it gave me 28.3. Now, let's take a look at number 47, circumference. Okay. So I have a circumference. Now, circumference in reality is the distance around the circle. I need the radius. I don't need the circumference. But the circumference, I'm going to say the circumference is going to be diameter times pi. So if that was said, I can say that diameter is circumference divided by pi. Right? Because divide both sides by pi. So my diameter is circumference divided by pi. I can get my radius from my diameter. All right, so according to this, let me go, my circumference 75.4. Let me divide that by pi. So I'm gonna say 75.4 divided by pi. According to my calculator, is about 24. But that's the diameter. Then I'm gonna go divided by 2, and it tells me my radius is 12. Oh, see, from the circumference, I got the radius. Right, first I get the diameter. Diameter divided by 2 is radius. Okay, so now I know my radius is 12. So if I'm asked for the area, I'm gonna go 12 times pi. If I'm asked, leave pi as a pi, I get 144 pi. But now if I'm asked to round, if I'm not asked to leave pi as a pi, then I'm just going to type this in as 144 times pi, and it will be 452.4. I rounded this to 1 decimal place. All right, so let's take a look again. Circumference. I know my diameter is circumference divided by pi. So I'm just going to go 69.1 divided by pi. And my calculator says about 21.9952134. So I'm going to say that. And then I just press divided by 2. Right? Because that's the diameter. I want the radius. It says about 10.99760657. So what I'm going to do, I have the radius. The radius is that. So look, this is what I'm going to do. 10.99760657. And I'll press the square button. So I'm going to square this. So that's radius times radius. And then whatever I get, I'm going to multiply this by pi. And my result happens to be 379.96 or 97. If I round it to 2 decimal places, is 97. If I round it to 1 decimal place, is 380. Because the 7 or 6, initial was a 6, pushes the 9. The 9 pushes the other 9, so 380.